Hello Confetti Club, it is Pixie. This video, oh my god, hi. Hello, hi. This video is the big personal life update slash DID system update that I have been wanting to film and share for a really long time now. For like 4 months. I originally tried to film this video multiple months ago. I really found myself kind of trapped in this loop where I made this big video where I, kind of announced, like, this is why I stopped talking about my DID so much. It is not safe. People are horrible. I just, I've shared what I've shared. That stands. Now, if you know, you know, I'm just gonna try and do my normal YouTube thing and, like, not talk about it as much. And when I do talk about it, which I still kind of talk about it all the time, it's just not the focus of my videos lately. But yeah, it's very much been operating on an if you know basis for like a year. In my weird, like, pledge to myself to stop sharing so much, deeply vulnerable personal content online, I kind of lost the line. I lost the balance between, like, I felt like I couldn't share anything. And it's gotten to a point where this is definitely causing me more stress and making my life way harder, keeping all of this a secret and feeling like it's some big thing that I can't share and that I have to tiptoe around. Like, there are a lot of things in my life and in myself, my system, DID-wise, that have changed. And I just really want to make a video talking all about it. I know that I want this to be out there because consistently, all the time, I'll think, like, damn, I wish this didn't have to be a secret. I wish people just knew about this. I wish I could just get this video out there. But the sitting down to film has constantly been just setting me into, like, I have really bad physical body fear, avoidance, PTSD symptoms around it. For, like, I guess obvious reasons, but I don't know. I think I really had to, I was saying this on stream, I had to kind of set this up. I wrote a bunch of notes and I set up this little filming space with the light and the camera and my notes and my comfy little space as almost like a little trap to be like, I know you want this video to be out there. You just need to be in the right headspace and have the bravery to sit down and say everything that I want to be out there. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about DID stuff. I am diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. I was diagnosed by a psychologist and a couple other people that work together in 2021. So, if you don't believe that DID exists, if you do not think that I have DID or that if you believe in the conspiracy theories about me and my diagnosis, or you don't believe in DID at all, please just sit this one out, please. Because this is information that I solely, and I know this is going on the internet to everyone, but my objective with this is not to make a big show and say, look at me, I'm so different. I am a person with a blog who shares my personality. I stream every week, and when you have multiple identities, when you have DID and dissociation, it's just going to be a part of who you are. And this is just me sharing life updates like any other person would share life updates. So anyway, I know that that's not going to do anything, and the people that are going to be negative and horrible about this are still going to be negative and horrible. And it's stuff like this, which is what makes it so hard to share. But anyway, I kind of put myself in this position where I went, nope, no more talking about DID, no more DID videos. Let's just, cut the bullshit and just keep it secret and just have it be in our personal life and be a fashion blogger, pony lover, whatever. And that has put me in this position where I have a year's worth of really, really huge system updates that I haven't shared. And it is getting way harder to, like, live stream and be online all the time and have people not know about, fusions and splits and stuff. So this video is going to be about my personal DID updates specifically over the past year. If you are down for this, welcome. But if you are passing this point of the video, you are making a little pinky promise to not be weird, okay? Anyway, whatever. Okay, let's get into it. So in my little page of stuff, I guess I've gone over the intro already. That didn't take very long. I was worried this video was going to be like an hour long. Maybe it won't be. I also want to say I'm going to give myself all of the grace in the world with this video. If I need to stop and film another chunk another day, if I need to take breaks, if other parts want to come in, whatever. It's good for me to be sitting down and ooh, it's all framed with colors and my makeup's on and stuff, but I feel like this video will probably end with me with no makeup, and comfortable, because I just really want to get this stuff out. So, personal pixie looks update time. Don't be weird. Please be nice. I think I just have to say this. it. Jarek fused. Jarek was my most prominent other part. He was co-host. He had lived the most amount of life other than me. Just a huge partner system that held huge traumas and was out all the time. And just, I would say he was definitely like the part of us or the alter or whatever. I'm struggling with terminology, and I'm also going to get into how I've changed. This video is kind of going to be in 3 segments. Intro, which is done, Jarek's fusion, which we're getting into, how I've changed, and then this other guy that split. And then I'll be free, and then I can just be calm. So yeah, let's get into Jarek's fusion. He was the closest with me. He was constantly with me, which I think is it's obvious now why he ended up fusing, maybe before others had, because we were constantly together and we shared a lot of the same, memories and lived experience and stuff that we had tackled kind of together throughout life. He started fusing a year ago, almost around this time a year ago. I think it was October that we started really taking note and being like, things are feeling weird. It happened really gradually. This did not happen overnight. It was like a really slow, gradual process, and we could kind of feel it happening. It's just, the constantly being co-conscious, constantly being side by side. Let me find my notes. I wrote notes about this for a video. I'm sure I'll be able to see on Google Docs like when it was made, and I'll edit it in or something maybe, just so you can see how long I have been trying to share this and how long this has been going on. I will say, I wonder if anyone guessed that Jer might have fused, because he suddenly was just not online at all. And I know that we did say like, we're not going to talk about DID anymore, but it has been, and I have been sharing it in a way where if you're paying attention, if you're actually watching our content all the way through, if you're watching a stream all the way through, you will catch little comments here and there, very casual level, trying so hard to just be a normal person and exist with DID on the internet and not have it be the whole thing. Talking about this is so hard. I do not zone out like this when I'm talking about ponies. Because talking about ponies is easy, and talking about this is hard. Yes, I'm looking for the notes from forever ago. I hope you don't mind if I just read this. Again, I really want to just, give myself grace to get this fucking information out there in whatever way is comfortable. I'm just gonna read what is in this. Because this is the kind of thing where almost every night, all of the time, these thoughts are swarming in my mind. So here and there, I've been capturing them. I will write it down literally on a piece of paper. I will record a little voice note in the middle of the night. I will make a Google Doc. I will make a notes app. So I have little bits and pieces here and there. So please don't think that it's somehow disingenuous or something, or I'm reading from a script. It's just hard for me to remember every thought I've ever wanted to make, especially with DID and different parts activity, the combination of guys I am now, which is mostly Pixie and I think a little bit of a couple other guys, is different than the combination of guys I maybe was a few days ago and had another thought. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna read some stuff I wrote. It starts with, I'm gonna talk about this, and if the video never sees the light of day, that's okay. Well, this is like probably 8 months later, but hopefully this is seeing the light of day. Jarek was one of our most active and leading members, I guess you could say. He split at 12 from a horrible abusive situation and has been like the other side of my coin ever since. Over a decade of sharing this life with him, he has lived so much of our life, had friendships, relationships, played gigs with our band in high school, and done gigs as a drag performer as an adult. There is no other alter of ours that has been more prominent or intent on living as much life as possible. Sorry. Fuck. He really desperately needed to be seen, heard, and recognized as himself. This runs parallel to a ton of the abusive dynamics that went on. He had no voice, was controlled by an abuser with no way out. He would try and try to explain his pain, but the abuse went on because it didn't matter. That burning urge to be heard and understood never left him long after it was no longer needed. We are seen, we are heard, and now he feels seen and he feels heard. After having the opportunity to really take hold of a slice of our life for himself these past few years. He has voiced this a number of times. He talked about it in a clip, literally. I kept the raw clip because I knew, I was like, if you fuse, I have you on tape saying, I want to fuse. Like, this is shit he's said. So, again, it's not a surprise, but it's still a lot. And while I'm getting emotional, I don't want to interrupt myself too much, but I would say fusion is not an inherently positive or negative thing. It usually is indicative of healing traumas in DID, but although it can be hard to mourn a part of you that it was like a person, that was like a brother, that was like a roommate, a part of you that's just like no longer here. Does it kind of feel like he died? Yeah. Is alters fusing death? No. Can alters die? No. No, no, no. It's just a lot of feelings. And while I and this other part that has split, our quality of life has been way better, and it's just a healthier, more cohesive, more comfortable, less reactive way of being with Jarek fused in. As I cry, I don't want you guys to think it means I'm saying fusion is either a bad, sad thing or that it's like some positive, like seeing the light thing. It's very complicated. And we didn't really do this intentionally. We just kind of did a ton of therapy, and it happened to focus on stuff with Jer because he was out all the time. And, you know, experiencing pain all of the time and like having, you know, BPD reactions and stuff and issues in life all the time. So of course he was a focus in therapy. And I guess bro just got so therapized that he fucking got slurped up. Anyway, let me continue. So why did he fuse? Why now? What happened? I wrote, got it out of his system, a ton of therapy in all caps, and being able to live life as himself. We noticed he wasn't fronting as much for a while, especially during stressful situations where he would always have been out before. In the fall of last year, so fall 2023, we realized we were coping with life consistently with other parts that were less reactive, that didn't have some of Jer's unhealthy coping mechanisms. So yeah, one of the main first tells that made us kind of be like, where is bro going? Was that anytime like a high emotion situation or some sort of situation or conversation where Jer usually would have been out before, he was not out, and other parts were dealing with it instead and were not having his normal reactions. Believe it or not, I don't share every DID-related event that occurs in our life. Splits and fragments especially can be a bit nebulous, and I'm in a place now where I don't owe every detail of my life to the internet. Or where I know I don't owe every detail of my life to the internet. Slay Queen, slay past me who wrote this. It has been way healthier for me to draw that line at least somewhere, and I'm going to continue to keep some things private and some things public. Oh, yay, okay. This is the main reason I want to make this video. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, we split another alter named Seb. It is so hard to try and keep this whole ass guy a secret, and why? You know? Why? Simply because I let it go on too long. Because I was like, well, I don't know if Jer's fusing, and I'm not sure. I'm so happy to finally be talking about this. Okay. I'm gonna keep reading. I love a little guideline written by me. Do you see how relaxed I am after getting that off my chest? Holy fuck. In October, we split a new altar. Again, October of 2023. It is November of 2024! His name is Seb. He is really happy living a private life with just close friends and a handful of Twitter friends, and doesn't really want to be a part of the whole Pixie Locks thing, at least right now. Which is extremely okay and beyond understandable, lol. But he is a very active part of our life, and I keep almost outing him for existing, so let's just put it out there that there is a guy, and his name is Sebastian, okay? And Seb's split and Jer's fusion really seemed to coincide with each other. I really don't think we could have had one without the other. When Seb first split, it seemed like he had split to help us not self-harm. I will do trigger warnings and stuff. And you know what's awesome? I think we only did it like once this whole year. So I do believe bro is slaying. Self-harm is one of Jarek's most, long-running struggles. And it really seemed like Seb would come out in times when Jer would have turned to self-harm and just would not have the urge. Just literally wouldn't care. And it again sounds crazy, but that's what DID is. Literally, you're like, I'm about to go, and then you just turn into a different guy who's like, no. That's actually counterproductive to our health and wellness, thanks. That said, while Jer and Seb both existed for a couple months, there were a couple times where we did self-harm. And oh my god, Seb had like a crisis. He really felt like that was his only purpose and kind of reason for being. And he also had this really severe, I'm not sure if he might come out and speak for himself later, in another clip or whatever, but he can check this before I edit it and stuff if he's not okay with me sharing this. He felt guilty for having split because we have a lot of internalized ableism against ourselves. Probably a lot of which has been packed in by the internet and society, and even like the institution of people that work with dissociative disorders that are horrible to people with them for some reason. Instilling shame and instilling all of these bizarre, horrible feelings where I'm working through it and I'm aware of it, but I feel like if I have a higher number of alters, it's a shameful thing that I'm failing and I'm getting worse, and fusing is a good thing and splitting is a bad thing, and I need to just chill out and realize that these are neutral experiences that come with DID, and that our life has been so objectively better as it is now, as we are now. Whether our number ticks up a couple or ticks down a couple should not matter so much to me, and it really shouldn't make Seb feel like he has no right to exist if we ever slip up. A lot of weird shame about existing and feeling like he needs to be serving a purpose and doing a role, or he just shouldn't be there. It's been really fucked. I've really internalized a lot of bad shit from the way that people talk about DID and talk to people with DID online, and I know that, like, maybe that's not a good idea to say this, but at least now I'm aware of it, so that when people come at me and try and fill my mind with all of this bullshit that makes me worse, this is making my healing worse. And these people are trying to kind of fight, or they're using the veil that they're fighting to make people DID more healthy and less mentally ill and stop giving into your delusion. I think the most important thing for people with DID and OSDD to do is to be honest with themselves. Listen to your brain, listen to your body, listen to your health professionals, and don't listen to the internet. And don't listen to health professionals that aren't your health professionals if they're saying something that makes you think, hey, what the hell? Sorry, this is like old news. Like, Seb very much has gotten over this because it's just been him for so long and we have not been self-harming, but I'm remembering this whole arc of him being like, oh my god, why the f*** do I exist if I'm not doing the one thing I'm supposed to do? And it's like, hey, you were just born. You're doing your best. It's okay. It may feel like there's some sort of contradiction between, like, DID is a defense mechanism that your brain does to make you healthier and safer. And sometimes it is dysfunctional and makes your life harder and makes it harder for you to live and do stuff. There's a balance between these. There is a balance between these. I said failed once, kinda broke him, ... he is sensitive. I'm really sorry. He is a sensitive white boy. It is Sensitive White Boy Friday. Jarek and Seb were both present at the same time for maybe 5 months. Okay, 5 months before Jarek fused very clearly into Seb and I. So there was like a really, really clear direction. Maybe I'll make a fucking Venn diagram or a graphic or something. I don't know. But it was really, really clear that I got a handful of Jarek traits, and Seb is almost like an aged up Jarek and an aged down Cliff. I will get into it, but he also, has a lot of Jarek's traits as well. But again, in a more mature way, almost in a way where, like, Seb is like an older version, where maybe Jarek is a version of Seb who he used to be, where, like, Seb can look back in his memories and be like, that shit I did in high school. So the age thing is interesting and definitely is a thing I noticed. And I think in theory it's probably good that overall I'm starting to feel more my actual age. Seb is about our age. Jarek was like young teenager, 14, 15. He ended up feeling closer to 17 for a while at the end before fusing into Seb and I, who are both like 26 slay. And yeah, the age stuff is really, really, it gives me a lot of distress. I was thinking this the other day. I don't think it's normal the amount that my heart, sometimes I can feel it aching for times of my life that have passed, that even objectively were not as good as this one. I love my life now. I have my home that is tailored to me, with my partner that I love, and my cats that I love, and my job that I love, and my friends that I love. And I wouldn't want to go back to these times where I was anxious and unmedicated and in a place where I had less control and felt less safe and did not have the understanding or resources. But it is this DID thing where your brain feels like it's locked in time there, and it feels wrong that I'm not there, and I just yearn, and my heart breaks that I can't go back to my basement bedroom in grade 8 in the summer of, I don't know, 2013 or whatever, even though that was a bad time. Weird DID stuff with age. Anyway, I'm not sure when I'm gonna really dive into how I'm different and details into Seb. I think right now I'm kind of giving a foreword to all of it, but in some of the ways that I have changed, and again, it's this fucking internalized ableism bullshit that I resent has seeped into my soul, where I am hyper aware, or maybe just self-conscious, of looking like I'm overanalyzing my alters, or just being so self-conscious anytime I talk about my alters. I constantly am imagining the people that don't take me seriously, and I really, I need to be in a place where I can just recognize that not everyone is like that, and some people are accepting and understand that this is just a condition, like bipolar or like schizophrenia or like PTSD, especially like PTSD, where like I'm a person that lives. You know, I'm a person that rides the bus and goes to school and goes to work and pays taxes and lives. It's not a TikTok trend. It's not a costume. It's not an act. But I think because of the way it looks on the internet, some people can think it's that way, even though they should not think it's that way. It is the exact same level of a person without DID, where you wouldn't assume that they look the way they do in their profile picture every day, and that they talk the way they do in their poised, edited YouTube video where they've put on an outfit and set up the background and set up the camera. Like, of course they seem like they're giving a presentation. They are. Of course they look different when they're just sitting on the couch watching a movie. Anyone would. And it is really frustrating that as people with really, really misunderstood and what's the smart word for hugely unknown? People don't fucking know about it. People just don't know about DID. It feels like because my experience is one that a lot of people don't understand or haven't seen before, I am expected to portray it in the most raw, unfiltered, fucking like, you might as well have a ring cam in my bedroom watching me while I sleep type levels of like, people want to see me having a breakdown and recording it and switching and recording it and sharing my medical files and doing like an interview with my therapist. And like, I just want to sit here and do a YouTube video and tell you about who I am and what my favorite color is and like what shows I've been enjoying lately. And of course, who I am as a person goes further than that. And of course, when I'm talking to my partner or having an argument with my, I don't know, whoever, of course, when I'm living life, it looks different. So again, along with all of this, I'm trying to find the level between, am I portraying my DID in a way that people are going to think is too polished or edited or unnatural or something? Yeah, right now I am here. I'm pixie coated and pixie pilled. And yeah, I think I want to talk about how I'm different and the way I feel about my content and sharing my DID and all this stuff. So I really was just like, this video is lined out in blobs and it's kind of gonna be structured in blobs, and I just want to get this information out. I don't regret any of my past content, but I do look back on it and I cringe. I cringe hugely. And again, this was only a couple years ago. But I don't think I did anything wrong. And I was honest with every single breath I had, with every single word I spoke. I think I was just unaware of the way that people would take it. And I think if I understood what I understand now about the way that people view DID and the way that they understand it, think they understand it, or just don't, you need to, like I said, almost portray it like it's a fucking nature documentary, and the standard shouldn't be this high. And especially for a person like me who's probably autistic, it's hard to know the social map and the fucking equation that you have to solve to have people understand you. You know, one of my number one biggest life things is being misunderstood. I'm so misunderstood. But no, for real. Trying to get my point across, trying to be understood, and people just fucking not getting it. One of the video notes that I recorded one night, I remember it. I don't have to go back, because just the fact that I spoke it out, I remember it. I said that I think I was trying to explain something that is unbelievably complex and nuanced and not even fully agreed upon by like the health field, the mental health world. And I tried to kind of wrap it up with a bow and present it to my audience and I tried to sum up this extremely complicated thing in a really uncomplicated way to try and communicate it as clearly as possible. I really, really, really wanted to outline it and say, guys, this is what I've been dealing with. This is who I am. This is why I might have been acting a little bit weird recently. Doesn't this explain everything? Don't you understand now? Don't you see? This makes so much sense to me. But I understand the way that some people think that it was you know, too polished, too edited, disingenuous, exaggerated. I never exaggerated. I would never. I have never lied. I've never exaggerated. Again, every single breath in that content is genuine, is real, is my experience. You can have DID and be cringe. That's a great tweet from my friend. You can have a real DID diagnosis and make cringe content. And I really think, here's a big one. Here's a big one. I was honestly, on the outside, I seemed not afraid or ashamed, clearly, about my diagnosis. But I think it probably goes without saying that there was a lot of fear and a lot of nervousness and just a lot of uncertainty, confusion, and panic inside of me. And I was trying so hard to have this feel safe and communicate this in a safe way and be myself and be able to continue to live here and do the thing I've been doing for 10 years, which is my life, my livelihood, the people I care about, and, you know, sometimes art. Not all of my content I would consider art, but a lot of it I do. Where am I going with this? Why am I saying I'm an artist? I definitely will admit that I was trying to fit the mold and the form of like a DID content creator, obviously. I think that's pretty clear, and I think that might be where some people thought, you know, this chick isn't genuine. Why does her content look like so and so? Why does her content look like this on TikTok? She's literally doing the trend. And technically, I was doing the trend. I did do Meet the Alters videos. I did, you know, format my videos in the way that people on TikTok in the DID sphere did, because it felt safe. Because this if you really think about the implications on your life and what it means, is so fucking scary. And obviously on the surface, I'm going to try and soothe and make it seem at least a little bit human and at least a little bit copeable. I definitely felt safety in following this kind of genre that had already been laid out. It felt like a guiding path. It felt like something I had seen other people do and have it be understood, right? I had no idea if I talked about it in any other way, if people would understand. There was no example of, another person who had an internet presence that I was aware with, who was then diagnosed with DID after being online for years and years and years and years. I had no one to follow, no one to look up to, other than the fact that people with DID do make content. And they live. and people are normal to them. And it's okay. And so, the only thing I will say about my past content is that it is hard for me to see a clearly petrified person trying so hard to be understood, by following like a set kind of guideline trend genre of video. That, again, I don't blame myself. But these are just things that I think about all the time when I'm falling asleep. Is like, damn, I was afraid. And, of all of the things people criticize me for, that is the only thing I will accept, is that I made videos in the style of like the DID content sphere. I made content that looked like other DID YouTubers and TikTokers because it felt safe, because it felt like a space that I could maybe fit into, and it was like the only precedent that I had set that made me feel like I wasn't just absolutely swirling in the void, terrified of how the fuck to move forward with this. Anyway, this is stuff I've been thinking about for so long. Hello? Like, looking back, yeah, I probably wouldn't have each and every alter state their height. Like, why does that matter? I probably would have just let every alter fucking go on camera and talk and do whatever they want. I would not have them follow such a strict list of things, and I also would have kept more to myself early on. I definitely fucking have DID. It is unbelievably and horrifically clear to me on a day-to-day basis whenever symptoms smack me in the face. It's, you know, some days will be okay. Some days are better. Sometimes I'll get a couple days or a week that's better. Today, I got stranded in a parking lot because I was so dissociated after exiting the store, and that hasn't happened in a long time. I had to wait in my car and try and ground for about 45 minutes. And there's constantly new and unique or old yet unfamiliar, because it's been a while, symptoms that can just fuck with you. It is so hard to find the balance between, like, sharing what's happening in your life and not oversharing. And not oversharing in a, like, deep, dark, secret way, and also not oversharing in a, like, what am I trying to prove way. Like, the people that get it will get it, and the people that don't, slay on. It's fine. It's fine. There's literally an episode about the Weekenders about this. Dino Donadini learned this. How I'm different. I forgot I literally wrote things for this. I feel much more settled into this present era than before. I see my past few years like it is removed from me, like I spawned in now. Yeah. How I feel about my early DID content, I just talked all about that. That's a lot of stuff that has been swirling around in my brain. Trying to find the balance again in living with DID and just pushing forward with life. Yeah. I'm sure I'll remember, you know, I'm sure I'll have an epic banger thought at midnight tonight and I'll record it in my phone. Okay, the last couple notes in this sphere of my thoughts are here, and then I'm going to part and you'll probably see another combination of me talking about other stuff. You'll get the Seb tea and the Jer deets. Where my mind has been lately. DID is something I focus on less intently now. I kind of was avoiding it for a while. I think society and crap has fucked my brain a little and injected a lot of shame, regret, and fear around my DID, and especially talking about it publicly. I have definitely internalized some ableism towards myself. My brain thinks that if I think of all of the hurtful things first, they won't hurt me as much when they happen. But this just ends up with me living with a constant, insanely severe inner critic that is also ableist and judging my every move. Anyway, when I was first diagnosed, I was terrified. I think subconsciously, I felt it was safer to try to do things the way others had done it before. This very structured content style with Meet the Alters videos and checklists and fronting indicators. Looking back, I wish I had the courage to just breathe and tell my story at my own pace, but I remember that urgent pressure to spill my story to everyone so I could finally be understood. All of this has been in a desperate attempt to be understood. This video's depressing. Okay, I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my night. Take it away, other me from another time, with the rest of the video. Yay, okay, I'm back. I told you I would be back. I guess for you it's been 1 second, and for me it's been like a week. Yeah. Oh my god, and has it been an insane week. But I'm here to finish the video and to talk a little bit more specifically about Seb and like who he is as a guy, because we put off this whole video so long that this is like a triple whammy Jarek's fusion / how both, I was gonna say Jill and Seb is like I was gonna say adjacent but not really influencing me, but then I also just spoke in third person, so we're a little mix. Hi! Seb has been around just throughout videos and stuff. He's a lot like me, and I'm a lot like him, and since Jer has fused into us both, you can definitely see, like, the handing off of traits and how we're kind of the same genre, same purpose, same role, same kinda guy. I don't know if anyone noticed that my voice has gotten just a little bit, like, deeper and chiller and less like throughout this past year, and whenever it is that really high, like up and down squeaky kind of thing, that's usually Sunny at this point. I did end up going through and I made a little graphic that can help visualize some of like Jarek's elements and parts of him that have been kind of transferred, for lack of a better word. But I mean, whenever a part fuses, it doesn't just go away. It's all in here. It's just separated. So it doesn't really just evaporate. The things that seem to evaporate or go away are things that we kind of beat out of the brain in therapy. And since we were able to sort through that stuff and therapize and talk it out and go in there and mine away what was making that such a lasting, pervasive, disordered, maladaptive thing that oh my god, I did not ever think I would still be struggling with this at 26. But I do think that might have been a big part of why Jer fused. Yeah, myself as Jill, I definitely feel a little more grounded and chill. For a while there, like whenever I filmed my like Jillian Meet the Altar and stuff, I remember feeling almost like there was something unnatural about my arrangement, myself as a part, where I was really lacking some of the balance that I needed, where I think I definitely was like detached from reality. And I definitely feel reattached to reality. I guess that's kind of one way to put it. But yeah, I feel like Sunny split off of me because whenever the whole ISSTD McLean presentation thing happened, we kind of clued into the fact that, like, you can't be a dissociated, happy little clown cartoon character person and have people take you seriously or understand you at all. Like, that's not gonna work in society. So, unfortunately, that caused Sunny and Amber to split. Amber holding the protector power, the trauma from that. She holds all the icky stuff and the, like, bark, like, let me go yell at an institution. And Sunny holds all of that innocent, joyful, unself-aware, like, hyper autism, open stimming, happy, no volume control. Like, I feel like for a while it was probably there as like a subconscious, coping mechanism, as all of this is. I feel like my brain deep down thought that if I could just like fill my mind with as much of the happy thoughts and happy, not even happy chemical, because I can't control like what chemicals my brain produces. Well, you kind of can. That's what life is all about, is figuring out how to get a control of your nervous system when you have PTSD. But that's a whole other rant. It definitely felt like the Jillian I was for a second was so, like, padded with a protective barrier of precure and joy and, like, now ponies. Bro, I am very grateful that with whatever the hell I have going on up here, at least I have the ability to feel extreme, profound love, joy, excitement, and in abundance. There is never a limit to the amount that I can get excited and enthusiastic, and I'm so grateful for that, because if I didn't have that, hey, what? Like, oh my, I don't even want to think about that. So yeah. Anyway, rambling. I think for a while that was kind of like included in my Jillian DLC as like a defense mechanism. When the ISSTD thing happened, something clicked on my brain that like, no, I need to mask more. I can't be like this. Okay, funny little crazy little clown girl who thinks she's a cartoon character, go over here. I'm gonna try and act sort of kind of normal, and then this is the part that's gonna handle all the other crap because I can't touch that either. Anyway, and then it was maybe, I think 3 months after that. Was that only last year? The ISSTD McLean thing feels like it happened 5 years ago. It feels like that has been a horror looming down upon me throughout my whole life. But that's fine. It does feel like the ISSTD thing, Sunny and Amber, and then Seb and Jer, it seems like it was all kind of things falling into place one after the other. And I think it was November of last year where we ended up meeting Seb. So yeah, Jer's fusion was a really, really long process. I think it started in October, but I wasn't certain of it till, February, March. So Jer's fusion was very gradual. Seb's split was also... There was like a few days, if not a week leading up. Maybe a week and a half. I'm trying to be very accurate, and it's very hard to remember specifics. This split was the most bizarre thing ever. It's unlike anything I've ever
experienced. I have had a handful of splits I've been conscious of since my diagnosis and stuff. Yeah, I guess with Sunny and Jax, it was more of a direct response to a intense crisis event. Seb's split was a slower, more subconscious, gradual kind of reaction to, I guess, the gradual beginning of the fusion of Jer. We started seeing, I'm gonna get into, okay, join me in weird visualizing Braintown. A lot of the ways that DID often can process changes and communicating between parts is through a lot of visualization. So this might sound like just a made-up fantasy or a daydream, but it's more like a metaphorical visual representation of what's actually going on with the pockets of your psyche. I feel like I was using correct terminology and then I said pockets of your psyche. But outside of our inner world home, where I check in with Cliff every night, I still do this, there's a window, and it was the back left window of the living room. And then we have a backyard, and then there's a fence, and then there's like a field that has a couple new things in it now. There's a Futuro home. There's like a little wading pool. Anyway. And I started to see a weird hazy figure, like, looming. How do I describe this without it sounding like a Scooby-Doo children's book? A presence, kind of, it was like a blobby, very, very vague, hazy figure outside the inner world home, back left window. There's a backyard, and then there's a fence, and then there's like a field thing. So I check in with Cliff, and it would be on the couch thing. I've shown my inner world in like a couple different visualizations before. All you really need to know is that there was a blurry, blobby, hazy figure that had this masculine kind of energy, and it would just stay still. And the next night when I checked in, it got a little bit closer every night. This sounds like a horror movie. For some reason, I knew that it wasn't threatening. Again, I could feel its energy, kind of. This is why people think I'm insane. It's so hard to talk about this stuff and not sound insane. Going to therapy for DID has helped me remind myself that this is a real disorder. These are real things. It's helped me combat a lot of the internalized ableism, because it's hard for me to talk about stuff like this, because I know so many people just don't take it seriously. Anyway, hazy figure slowly getting closer to the window of the home in my brain. As this was happening, I also noticed, this is weird, and don't laugh. I'm gonna laugh first. Those who know Cliff will know he is bald, and it's hard to say that without it feeling like an insult. My visualization of him was getting blurrier, not even blurry, but like cracklier, and occasionally I would get glimpses of him with hair. I don't know what this was. I thought I was seeing visions of him younger. I thought I was seeing like 25-year-old Cliff or something. But yeah, eventually that figure coming up to the window was no longer a blurry figure. One night I went in and he was just there. He was just a guy, and he was still kind of standing still. Trying to remember the first interaction. But yeah, he ended up kind of making like a cozy little spot in that corner. He was in the house now, but very much secluded to this back left corner. A lot of my experiences with my dissociative disorder feel directional. I asked people about this on Twitter a while ago because I was really interested in people's internal monologues and dialogues. I was like, do your voices, do they say you? Do they say I? And do they speak kind of implying direction? Do you hear voices that say, come over here, stay over there, go away, to the left, to the right, look up, look down, I'm over here, etc. kind of thing? So it's just so weird how he is so... One of his most defining original traits I picked up was that he's like... northwest. His name wasn't super clear at first, and I also got his vibe completely wrong at first. I thought he was like a surfer guy. I thought he was kind of like Jude from 16. He seemed like a very laid back kind of guy. And I thought, hey, I could use that. I've been very high strung and stressed. Ever since Sunny splitting. I mean, she's wonderful and helpful, but that is something that came off of me as a part. Like, I didn't share, I just kind of lost all of that carefree, childlike, oblivious joy. And he just had this relaxed, carefree attitude. And anyway, I literally thought he was like a surfer skater man. He's not. He very much feels like a younger Cliff or like an older Jarek. I think I talked about that already. But again, in the visual thingy I made, you can see the similarities. He's very much a music guy. And he, again, very much looks like younger Cliff. Kind of looks like Will Wood. This is also a big part of why we cut our bangs like this. Because these are kind of Seb's bangs. And, you know, it's just a small affirming thing. I like them as well. And again, I really think that this is a good sign that from, you know, both ends of the spectrum, we are getting closer to our real age. And we're also getting closer to, I don't want to say our real gender, but, you know, after Jer fusing into me, I feel much, much more like a girl. I was struggling with a lot of dysphoria and just horrible identity confusion and gender dysphoria, gender confusion. It was awful. It was a mess. It was horrible. It was just like my head was a tangled bunch of wires. And I just feel like a girl again, which is really, really nice. And it feels good to be at home in my body, basically. That's a better way to put it. And Seb is very much a guy. And he gets dysphoria in the way where, like, he's like, that my body doesn't look like that. Why do I look like a weird girl? But he's explained that he feels, again, more like Cliff, where it's like, I don't feel like I identify as a trans man or trans masculine. He technically is trans masculine, and he, you know, identifies and can find community in those spaces. But as an alter, as a dissociative guy, he feels like a guy who was born a guy who's in the brain of a girl. There you go. There you go. Is that confusing enough? Oh my god. We've done a lot of drawings of him, trying to figure him out and kind of realize what we see in our head in a more tangible way. And that's been really, really soothing. Seb is another part that very much, there's this urge and strong pull and desire for him to feel real in the real world, for him to show people his face, to have an account, to have friends, to go to events, to see people, to talk, to be a guy who's seen and known as a guy who's alive. We have a lot of parts in our system that don't really care, or are shy and withdrawn and would rather stay inside and be like, I'm gonna be an internal caretaker. Whereas Jarek and Seb both really have this deep feeling of like, I need to be real in the real world, you know? And alters are real, and this is the real world, but I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say. So his desire to be like a real person in the real world is different than Jarek's, where Jarek felt the need to be seen by, like, the internet, the greater world, the people that follow me, like, online in the most broad sense, whereas Seb is very specifically, like, friends and family, very, very, very close friends and family, to the point where, like, even a lot of our friends don't know about him. Like, it's a close circle. And he's had private social media accounts for, I guess, almost a year now since he split, and he really, really treasures his real life relationships. He has a beautiful relationship with Stevie, and they're so cute. Little sweeties, little cuties. He also pretty much entirely took over our D&D character. Jer was playing quite a bit. It's technically Cliff's character. I think Cliff just isn't as social as he likes to imagine he would be. But ever since Seb took over this D&D campaign, It's like his thing that he's in love with and really, really enjoys and gets passionate about. And he's so much better at it than we are. It's crazy. I'm so bad at role-playing, especially in D&D at a table with people when you're flipping between describing things and rolling dice and then you're like putting on a voice and getting a character. I can't do it. He can. He loves it. Go, baby, go. Take it away. You can have that. You can have that. I'm not very good at it. I think I mentioned Seb's main interest is music. He really, really, really loves Devo, Oingo Boingo, Talking Heads, The Cure. Specifically Devo, he's very, very, very sensitive. I feel like Jer was more defensive and fiery and angry and confrontational. Whereas Seb is sensitive and like a hopeless romantic, and he definitely has a lot of BPD symptoms, fear of abandonment, but it expresses it in more of, I guess, a quiet BPD way. I didn't clue into that. Sometimes people categorize BPD into like loud and quiet or whatever. That fits here, I guess. Seb is very withdrawn. He will move inwards more so, and isolate himself. But it's much less intense, and it's also a lot more like romance based. Bro is just longing. Bro is just eternally longing. And it's funny because it's like we're engaged. I think it's just the fact that he lives inside another person and doesn't get to spend every waking moment. He's like, think of me when I'm not with you. And it's like, brother. Okay. One other random, like, transferred trait or whatever. I guess Jared didn't really super struggle with this. I wonder if this might be... Hi, Sticky. Bug, bug. I wonder if this actually might be caused by the like, self-harm tendencies in Jarek kind of maybe coming through in a more harm reductive, like something else that's a soothing, body-focused, repetitive behavior that isn't so harmful. Seb majorly struggles with trichotillomania more than anyone else. It's weird. Not to be mean to him. No, it's weird. It's weird how that just got so slurped up into him as a part. Again, he likes having our bangs like this, and he just is constantly cutting our hair. And it's like in helpful ways, I guess, but it's also like, it's so short now that I can't put it in a bun on the top of my head without having to like pin it a million times. And even now, anyway, we actually finally have a hair appointment for a real hair salon place, but Seb can lose a lot of time, specifically cutting, like, I don't know what it is. And again, that's something that we talked about in therapy. I think I've said everything I want to say. Thank you for listening. This, again, is just like a personal life update. I am a person who has made the unerasable decision to share my mental health online, so I feel like it's fun to give you guys updates every now and again, and important sometimes to give updates that are starting to wear on my brain and psyche and making it hard for me to, live stream every week and hide that there's a whole other guy who's here a lot of the time. Please remember that I am a human being who was diagnosed with a condition by a doctor, talking about my experience because I am a person who talks about my life. Here's a hall of fame for some of Seb's tweets throughout the past year that you missed because he was a secret man. Okay. I love you guys, especially if you made it to this point for pure intentions. My scoopable mama is here. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, she's so scoopy. Okay. Okay, thank you, bye!